How's it going, everybody? I'm Candace Bohannon. Welcome to another episode of She Builds Tech Skills North America. I am a solutions architect based in Minneapolis. I'm on the show from time to time, and I am joined today by my lovely co-host, Brittany. Brittany, would you like to introduce yourself?
Awesome. So Brittany Wolfram, I am one of the EBA leads, so experience-based acceleration leads at AWS for North America. Excited to be here and excited to do something a little bit different. I feel like I say that every time we're together, Candace. We like to bring in different episodes. So continue to give us feedback and let us know what you like, how you like it, that kind of thing. But today is an interesting one because last month I had the pleasure of attending a Women in Telco event hosted by Amazon. And it was a great event to just be with like-minded women, but also our allies, and really just talk through different things that were happening. So anywhere from networking to career journeys to creating your different networks of folks for those career journeys too, and just hearing about different things we'll hear about in the next couple of, we'll say the next hour or so. But yeah, it's fun to be back. If you're on, I know there's quite a few people joining on. Would love to hear where you're listening from. I know some of our other fellow Twitch streamers do this as well. So feel free to throw in the comments where you're listening from so we can kind of see and shout about. Candace, I know you're in the Minneapolis area. I am in the Virginia area now, no longer in the Midwest with you, but still here. Still here virtually. So we do have a video from Jess Lamb and Jeff Gallagher. Jess came up with the brilliant idea for the event that we're going to hear about today. And I would love for us to just start with that and let you hear from the two, sponsor and the idea creator. So with that, let's hear from Jeff and Jess. Awesome. So all right, everyone, welcome to AWS She Builds Tech Skills. We are at a special event today, and I would love to introduce the two people next to me, and we will go from there. So, Jeff.
I'm Jeff Gallagher, that is. I've been here a little over 5 years. Started in the database space, and now I'm covering the telco business unit.
Very nice. Jess.
I'm Jess Lamb. I've been at Amazon for about 3 years now. I'm an executive assistant to Jeff and 3 other directors of AWS.
Awesome. So I hear we're at a little bit of a special event today, and I would love to just, Jess, tell us a little bit about how this started and where we're at.
Yeah, this initiative started off when Jeff transitioned into taking over telco under AWSI. And when we got there, I was doing research about the business and kind of was disheartened about how many women are actually in telco. And I told him, this is an issue and I'd love to take events like this to maybe foster dialogue around it, to raise more awareness around it. And I asked him if I can turn this into an ID event that we do this year. And he wholeheartedly agreed, and here we are.
Awesome. So we're at the Women of Telco event, and we will have some amazing speakers coming up after this who have been on your panels and moderating. So that's been very exciting. And I think one of the things, Jeff, I want to ask you specifically would be, how will it change the world of technology by having equal representation in genders?
The timing of this is interesting, right? Because in the last 12 to 18 months, we've had this thing called Gen AI just coming straight at us, right? And the interesting thing about these models in generative AI is, the output of that is likely going to have a perspective. If we just had males building those models and the training of those models, even though it's done, with some level of automation, the perspective you would get or the output you get would likely be homogeneous. And so when we build services and when we build teams, having diversity that's part of that actually builds a better product. And so the Gen AI thing is interesting to me because we're all wondering if the model is hallucinating. And I think there's probably just a chance that maybe there's some bias built into it. It's new for everybody. And it's going to be interesting across the next several years, several months. It'll probably happen fairly quickly to start seeing if the models are actually generating some amount of bias.
Yeah.
And I believe that, by building an organization that represents our population, removes a lot of that bias and creates a better product for that matter.
100%. It'll be amazing with how we change, because one of the things that I've been hearing a lot of consistency around just in the trends of the world, not even just telco, is the one constant is change. Well, I know this is the first event. I'm hopeful, and I know, Jess, with your passion, this won't be the last. But what is the one thing you would like someone who attends to walk away with?
I think I want people to leave inspired, right? To maybe take this and do it for their industry or continue to do it for telco. But I think continuing to have conversations around this will just help us move further.
Yeah, and I think the most powerful thing a person can do after attending one of these is just be an ally. It doesn't require any special education. It doesn't, there's nothing hard about it. It just requires time and a willingness to listen and a willingness to do something, right? It's fine to sit and listen, but if you don't do anything about it, you're a good listener, you're not an ally. And so, what my hope from this is we generate enough momentum or interest in it. It's moving. There's good things that come out of this, and the things that come out of it is it's a better understanding for me to understand the shoes you walk in, because I don't understand all of that. And if for nothing else, when I do have a better understanding of that, it's easier for me to support you. And we just need momentum, and we just need more people to attend.
It's taking the first step.
Yeah.
And the first step could be attending a great event like this to then cascade into being what I love to call as a talent multiplier.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know. And I think this event is showing others what's out there, what's available, what the different perspectives are, which is great. So I want to thank both of you. I know we're doing these short, rapid interviews, but thank both of you for your time putting this together, sponsoring the event, getting everyone in the room, but more importantly, taking the time to do this so we can share it more broadly across our AWS She Builds team, as well as our viewers. So if you do another one, cannot wait to help. Even maybe if we do like more live streaming there, or even have some of our viewers be able to come and attend.
For sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I love that.
Perfect. Well, thank you all for tuning in to our short and sweet little conversation with Jeff and Jess, and we will see you soon.
I love it. Nice little intro from the organizers of the event. They were both at Women of the Cloud event last year, if I remember correctly, where you first kind of joined our team here, Brittany.
Yep.
And I think Jeff is great. I did not interview Jeff, but let me just give Jeff a few bajillion props. Like, he walked into that room where this is Women of the Cloud. He walked into that room where we were doing the interviews, and like, I could just tell he was like, what is happening here? And he was like, what am I supposed to be doing? And I'm like, Jeff, you got this. Also, he was like partnered up with the lady who climbed Mount Everest. What is her name? Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna blank.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blank on it. I'm gonna have to look it up.
That was our rock star. I mean, they were all rock star little shows, but like, that was a really good one. And I just think Jeff is so great, because he walked in there and he was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And I'm like, you got this. I want you to give advice like you would give to your daughter. And he was like, oh, okay, I got this. And like, his willingness to just like, he just seems like such a sweet, sweet person. His willingness to like care and support and things like that. I really appreciate Jeff and his approach. And I'm thankful that he sponsored that event as well. So we need those allies and sponsors in our lives.
Yeah, he actually did the intro and wrapped up the day with us at the Telco event too, and talked about how being an ally and how his daughter has helped him grow and also mold into this, but also the people he surrounds himself with. It's really nice to know that he's out there helping with women in tech and just advancing that too. So it is really nice. And we're going to hear more about that, but we're going to switch and hear from some of our women moderators and speakers from the event. So up next, I am going to take it over to Miriam and Lori. And here we go.
Miriam Noble. I am the East Greenfield Leader of Leaders at AWS based in Tampa, Florida.
Hi, I'm Lori Gerber. I'm a district manager for Greenfield in the Northeast, and I'm based in New Jersey.
So Lori, let's start with you. This is a question I'm asking everyone today. What's your favorite AWS technology today and why?
So there are so many, but I started my career with data and databases. And so data is our customer's differentiator. And so to master the management of the data and be able to take it and manipulate it for business insights has been constantly value added to our customers. So whether it is a purpose-built database or a relational database, it affects all of our customers. So that's my favorite.
Gotta love it. Data is everything. Stay with data, or are we going to pick one of the many
So I think
additional
I'll
ones?
build on it just a little bit. So one of our key focus areas across our team this year is Gen AI plus data. And so from the Gen AI standpoint, Q is my new favorite technology. And I guess it is kind of like the cool kid on the block right now too, right? But for us, I mean, not only with what the impacts that it can make for our customers, but also internally with our employees as well. I think being able to have that hands-on experience is really going to help us with being able to tell that story to our customers too. And within the greenfield space, a lot of what we work with our customers on is how to go from doing nothing with AWS to being more proficient with native services. And Q, with some of the connectors, is an incredible way to take some of the relationships they already have with our partners and be able to extend that using Q to be able to just have a much bigger impact on their strategies long term too.
It is awesome. It's my new favorite toy as well.
Love it, love it. Given that we are all here at the Women in Telco event, celebrating women as well as leaders as you all, what is the best professional advice that you have received that you'd like to share here?
Sure. So I was a working mom and was afraid that I was going to miss out on my daughter's first everything.
Yeah.
And so the best advice I got was from my CEO at the time, who told me, she was a woman as well. And she said, it doesn't happen until you see it. So if your daughter crawls and you're not home, a video doesn't count. The first time she does it is in front of me. And so I took that to heart, and it allowed me to go full force with my mind back into work, knowing that I'm not going to miss anything. I can have it all.
That's awesome. Good advice. Yeah. As women that are moms, caregivers everywhere, I think that resonates. So thank you for that. Another question, we of course have this event that allows women and leaders and aspiring folks that want to get into technology today to celebrate each other and network. What other ways are beneficial for women to link to each other and find that network?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll take this one too. The network of women across AWS has been such a powerful force in my life. And I would say it's one of the reasons I'm here after almost 8 years is that network and that support system. And a lot of it is, get engaged, get involved. And whether that is, we do a lot within our team from ID&E initiatives, women's specific initiatives. But it really is being able to get involved in a way that's giving back. Also, in turn, does create those bonds in that community throughout. I also have seen a lot of just reaching out and building those connections and not having it be a formal meeting, but picking up the phone, seeing how somebody's doing, and just really putting that time in. It builds this bond that, then there's an open door to have those very real, authentic conversations. And I think that's where we really need to be able to lean in, take the mask off sometimes too, and be there to support each other.
I think that's a great thing to tell people to do. And I know today I've already started this theme of like call to actions. Pick up the phone and call someone, ask them how they're doing. Just have that connection. Even if you don't know them very well, you may just be that person that brightens their day, or just that ear that they need for the day. Because I know we've all been there where you're on the grind, and then taking that moment to say, how are you doing today?
Sure.
And having that time to discuss would be awesome.
Yeah. And I think be proactive and be intentional about it. If you see someone that you really admire, just go ahead and reach out to them, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's your internal Slack, just to tell them, I really admire how you do this. And can I shadow? Can you teach me? Whatever that is. Rarely will people say no to that. So go ahead and take that chance.
I know we only had you for a short amount of time, and it was a pleasure to have you talk with us and kind of talk to our audience and just give us like the quick hits panel. And we will be talking to you all hopefully again soon. Awesome. So I know I am the type of person that'll say, can we do a quick huddle or can we connect? And Candace has been a recipient of that. And one of the things that I wanted to just talk a little bit about is, have you picked up the phone and talked to your team member lately, especially for those of us that work worldwide. We don't always get to go into the office and see one another. And I think it's one of those people aspects that we miss. And it's one of the things that I immediately, after leaving that event, put specific call to actions on my calendar, because I am very bad when I am focused. When I'm focused, it's really good. But there are times when I need to lift my head up and also talk to my team members and see how everything's doing. I don't know, Candace, if you had a favorite outcome of that, or if you do any of those things that were mentioned.
So I am also a working mom. And so some of those things like resonated with me, but I like what you're talking about there with the call to action. I think you and I have been doing a good job on that. Like, you just moved and I'm like, how's the move? How are you doing? I'm about to move. So like, it's really exciting. Do you want to see my gorgeous house? And so I like being able to check in with each other like that. And now I have friends like all over the place. Like, I have friends in Chicago and Virginia and Seattle and Houston, like all over the place. Right. And so I actually have a friend who's visiting in town. The SA that I used to work with a lot, he's in town visiting. And so we're going to go get dinner tomorrow. So we can all call each other because technology has made the world flat, or whatever that phrase is. And you can also go visit each other and make sure to have that time together, which I think is one of those like superpowers from women, right? Like the connectedness and the networking and that side of things sometimes can be our superpower. So I liked that part too. Yeah.
I also got to say, Amazon Q, I nerded out last week and spent about 30 minutes and built a bot and attached it to one of our internal tools and was able to use it. And I'm like, wow, I feel like a builder now. I don't get to build very often. So the fact that Miriam brought that up, I was like, yeah, I'm a little bit addicted now. So if you haven't tried it, feel free to try it. It was way simpler than I anticipated. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to actually build. Have you tried anything in Amazon Q recently?
I have. I was a code whisperer. So previously we kind of had them a little bit separate, right? But code whisperer, I was one of the ambassadors or whatever little gold star you can put by your name for that. So I'm a pretty big fan of code whisper generally, and it's super helpful when you know nothing and you're just trying to get up and running. So like, I know CloudFormation, don't know Terraform. So I can be like, here's my CloudFormation template. How would I do this in Terraform? And she can help me with that, because of course, Q, code whisperer, it's a girl. Like I gave her pronouns of she. So I think it's super helpful as a learning tool and to give you like an overall like framework for how to do it. And your jobs aren't going anywhere because you still need a person there are some times whenever all of these assistants, they still need you to kind of pick the best answer, or maybe they're not suggesting the method name in the same naming format that you have within your company. So it's super helpful and your jobs are safe, and definitely would recommend going in and trying that out just to kind of help with that extra velocity and like quick learning and things like that.
Yeah, it almost makes it so anyone can be a builder and anyone can try it, which I feel like it's awesome in that aspect of being able to jump in.
Yeah.
All right, so I know we have another video coming up, and it is with Shruti and Kristen. So I'm going to hit the button here and we'll hear from them and get some more gold nuggets.
Moderators for the Women in Telco event, and I would love for you two ladies to introduce yourselves.
My name is Shruti Warlikar. I manage the Specialist Solution Architecture team for data warehousing and streaming specialist essays.
Thanks for having us. I'm Kristen Hughes. I lead the solution architects in the Specialist Telecommunications organization.
First question I'm going to ask is, what is your favorite AWS technology and why?
Interesting. And I don't think the talk would be complete without talking about GenAI. So Bedrock is definitely my favorite service right now. You know, it's a way that it democratizes access to foundational models across many different companies, such as, Amazon, yes, but Anthropic, etc., Meta, to everybody, right? And so it allows customers to build, secure, responsible AI, GenAI applications on top of the AWS platform in a scalable way. So that's what I love about it.
Mine is Party Rock, and I'll tell you why. When I try to explain my job to my dad and my children, I feel like I tell them for hours and hours what I do. And now I can just say, go build an app on Party Rock. And it is AWS. It ties together all of the different pieces and GenAI and it creates the code and the app. So it just makes my life simpler.
I might have to try that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a GenAI app to build GenAI apps.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
It's amazing.
And it's very easy to
My
fun.
7-year-old can play with it.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's awesome. That is really
Start them
awesome.
early.
What are some of the key things we should consider with GenAI adoption?
That's a great question. I think the important thing is, having your, building the right data foundation model is such a crucial thing. Customers today are jumping onto this, GenAI bandwagon, and without having the right foundational model, it's going to be really tricky. And the reason being, today, all of these large language models, right, the LLMs are built using public facing data, right? So which is great. But then at the end of the day, when you want to consumerize it for your own enterprise applications, it's extremely crucial that it has the basis of your enterprise data. So if you build the right data foundation model for it, have the data in a way that it could be inferred from the right technology, that will allow you to build a healthy mix of those, your enterprise data with the LLM models to be able to apply it for the right enterprise GenAI application. So I think that's something that everybody should think about.
That makes sense. Thinking long term and how you take this intriguing technology into adding real business value with your own data.
Absolutely.
I'm going to switch us from technology to what we are here celebrating today at the Women in Telco event. Powerful women, impactful women, women that lean into each other in tech, as yourselves here. If you look back and you think about the best professional advice that the two of you have received, what would you like to share with our audience?
So, it's really interesting. I feel like through my career, people love to give advice. And the advice that has stuck with me the most really has nothing to do with me, but the people that I surround myself with. Finding people that you really enjoy working with has been fundamental for me, but then really getting to know them. Where I find my happy spot and where I really enjoy coming to work is working with all of you and working with other people that have a passion for the same things that I do. And so that requires you to get to know the people, understand what they have going on in their lives, what's important and critical to their success, and empowering them. It's not as much career advice for me, but it's finding what motivates other people in my life.
Not transactional, but actually human life.
Human, absolutely. Yes. And I feel like we work so many hours a day that if we don't know the people that we work with and enjoy them, like it just becomes a machine. And I'd rather have a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think COVID made it so much more difficult. And now when we get an opportunity to meet with each other in person, it's just, it fosters, these great relationships, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you two are, women leaders, your organizations and teams that you lead, and you bringing that mindset, and it creates inclusivity and a sense of belonging when you know each other that way as well. What about you, Shruti?
I think the best advice that I got was always say yes.
Right?
Like analyze, paralyze about, can I do it? Should I do it? How does this impact? And of course, sometimes, you don't want to leap too much as well, so you have to gauge the risk involved. But I think just saying yes, irrespective of how uncomfortable the new role is, the new project is, has allowed me, learn and acquire the skill set that maybe I didn't even know of, right? I never knew and was introduced to certain elements of the job function that I was able to learn because I was thrown into. And two, build those additional relationships as well. I would have never gone in and talked with, certain members within the broader organization if I wasn't given that right opportunity. And I think that's one thing that I can tell, young professionals or even women out there is say yes. You will learn something from it. Worst, what's going to happen is you don't want to do it the next time around, and that's absolutely fine.
Agree. And on that note, when we look at the way that women link to each other or on that network or find role models, and I think you can find role models at any stage in your life, in your career, what's kind of been your experience in doing that, and what's worked for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there are two parts to that question too. One is as far as role models go, I've only worked for men, which is actually interesting. As I was preparing for this event, I started to think back, and I have some very influential men in my life from work: Jeff Tremblay, Adam Driver, John Duda, some really, really great men. But the biggest role model is my newest manager, Jeff. Gallagher, who's running this event today. And I'll tell you why. He was very intentional in talking with me through tough conversations. He's kind, he's empathetic, and he understands what a diverse team is. And so Jeff is the type of person that I want to be when I grow up. I constantly think he was uncomfortable. He brought this team together. He did this event, and he put us all in those spots to be able to say yes. And then to the second part of your question, how do we expand our women's network and how do we link to each other? I think we have to be incredibly intentional about it. If we sit back and just let the world happen, it's not going to happen. And I've been put in those hard positions of, I want you to interview. Oh, I'm a little nervous to do that. I want you to speak at this event. I'm a little nervous to do that. I want you to mentor people. I'm a little nervous to do that. And every single one of them has been incredibly rewarding for me. So I think we need to force the intentionality to make that network strong. And when you do, it's like gold.
Yeah. I'll just add that, I think ownership is right. Like you need to be owner of your own career journey.
Our call to action is to find your peer mentoring group. Find that group of like individuals or unlike individuals that are in similar stages in their career and utilize them to bounce ideas, sanity checks, ask if you're on the right path forward, and then always know that you can take it or leave it. So I want to thank you for joining us today and time out of your day for this event to share knowledge there, but also taking the additional time to share knowledge with our viewers. So
Thank
you
you
so
for having
much.
us.
Thank you.
There he is again, Jeff. Like I told you,
Can we all work for Jeff?
he's so good. So I also, Brittany, you picked the perfect order for these. Like I really feel like they're all building on each other. So good job on that. Couple of things that I really liked, like let's stick a little bit to the people thing. Shruti said, always say yes. And I would modify that just a little bit and say, always try a new thing. Like you can't actually always say yes or you're going to drown and it's okay. But if you say yes to a new thing, like Kristen was saying, oh, I'm a little bit nervous. Like just try it. We're all a little bit nervous. Nobody knows what we're doing, but it might turn out that you're a really great co-host on She Builds with someone, right? Like, yes, this is nerve-wracking every time and it's fun.
The butterflies have not gotten easier. And I think there was like a good 8-week stretch where Candace and I were on here every 2 weeks for a while. But we both said yes, we did it. And hey, we have fun and we love working with each other. I'm putting words in your mouth, but it's all good.
No, it's true. It's all true. Then the other thing that I wanted to also double click on, because I said it before, we have these LLMs. Everybody has these LLMs and they're cool. They are neat and out of the box. They work all right. And sometimes you have to fine tune train those on your own models. You have to learn or on your own data. You have to fine tune train on your own data. You have to learn how to prompt them in the right way. So, it does still take a little bit of learning, and you can learn as you go. You learn right on the fly, gives you some answers and comes back. I'm working on a presentation for a thing I'm doing at the University of Minnesota on Friday. And I asked Claude for help. I'm like, title this for me. And so Claude, I guess, is a boy. So he titled that for me. And then I was like, oh, that reminds me of this quote. What is the quote and who said it? And he's like, this is the quote. I was so close. It's from Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's the one about do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. I love that one. So anyways, Gen AI everywhere, and we can kind of guide it to help us do our job better. So those are my two big takeaways from that session.
Yeah, I use Gen AI every day, way too much probably now, but it's helping me be able to say yes to things because I'm reducing the operational and administrative type burdens of things that I need to do, but in a way that I'm still going in and fine tuning. Writing emails, great example. I suck at writing. I am great at ad-lib, but grammar, not my strong suit, but math and data, I'm there. So I'm just using the data to better my writing, which is always good to see. Yeah. We're going to change it up with our last video. And for those of you who have been with us for about the last 6 months or so, this is someone who we've interviewed before at the Women of the Cloud event, and someone who brings a ton of energy and released a book that was on Amazon's bestseller list recently too. So you may have read it or heard of it, but we are going to have Erin Diehl. So let me pop that on and let's hear what Erin is going to talk to us about. And a little bit, this is only a little bit of what she spoke about at the Women in Telco event, but we'll get some more from her. Maybe we'll release the longer video later. Let us know in the chat if you'd be interested.
So thank you for joining us again, Erin. I'm really excited that you're back with us.
Too.
And I hear there's a little book that we might want to talk about today that came out.
Oh.
So I See You, a leadership guide to energizing your team through radical empathy. Love that. So
Thank you.
for those that are new, can you do a quick little intro for us?
Yes, I sure can. So, okay, it's called I See You, a leader's guide to energizing your team through radical empathy. Guess what? Amazonians. It's an Amazon bestseller. And it was top new release. And we sold out on Amazon on our launch day, which was insane.
Amazing.
I am a woman-owned business. I run a team of all women. In my opinion, can help everyone, but specifically women who need to give themselves some more self-love, who need to fill their cups so they have more to give to others. And I wrote it at a time that I was coming out of my own healing journey. And I know that because I healed myself, I had to share this message with other people in hopes that they could do the same things for them and it could change their lives.
Sharing is caring.
That's right.
Love it.
That's right.
Love it.
Sharing is caring.
Love it.
So I know we're here today at a Telco event for women and super excited that we got to sneak you away for a couple minutes.
So here for it always, always.
Yes.
So tell us about, your idea of how technology ties into leadership.
We're living at a time when it is literally at our fingertips. And so there's blessings and curses of that. And as a leader, I think that I'm a big proponent of over communicating versus under communicating, but doing it in a way that it is making the other person feel seen, heard, and valued. But the constant communication is the ability to communicate efficiently, effectively, and meaningfully. Mm-hmm. I also think as a leader, it's important to set a boundary with technology. I'm learning that myself, and it's a blessing and a curse because we are always on. We have our office in our hand. So I think effective leadership is learning how to turn it on and turn it off effectively.
Yeah. And you said you become a good role model for others around you if you do that. You set the boundaries, they're allowing them to do that as well.
Totally. And can I share something my team and I just started? So in the book, I talk about this thing called an LSD day. Mm-hmm. It is not a drug. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there. It stands for Lightsaver Day. Mm-hmm. So it's a day that you plan for yourself that you share with your team. I'm taking a lightsaber day this month to prevent burnout. We started doing this in 2023. I made sure that every team member, first and foremost, took that day off their screens, off their phones, and they shared with the team what that LSD day was. So they took a picture. So that's using communication and technology to showcase what we're doing, but in a meaningful way. We loved this so much that we actually started implementing a 4-day work week. And this has changed the game. Here's what we do though. On Fridays, I have a smaller internal team. This is just for my full-time employees. But we check in on our technology. This is the blessing of technology, that everything's running as it should. So that technology allows us to be freely out in the world while still checking in with our clients and partners and people out working. We still have that capability to do work, but do it from a coffee shop or do it from an awesome lunch spot with our family and take time to recharge. So there's that boundary setting too.
We were just talking about this morning because you called me through Slack and she's like, oh my God, I called your cell phone. I'm like, I have it set up that way. So during my work hours, it automatically will forward to my cell phone. But on my non-work hours, which I set up through Slack, it won't forward to my cell phone. It just goes to my regular internal calling system. But I feel like it's a way to have the healthy balance. Like I call it Think Time Fridays. So after 12 p.m., I don't take calls.
That's smart.
And it's because
so smart.
I feel like I just need to reset my brain sometimes. Oh my God. Yeah, it's just like, it makes me so much more, and coming back from PTO right now, I'm like, it makes me just so much more excited and more innovative. Your mind is more creatively free.
Amen.
Yeah. And it just puts you in a good spot to be
in work, you're more present, I feel like.
Yes, that's what we talk about is like my best ideas come to me on Fridays.
Yeah.
When I'm not just like chained to the spreadsheet,
Yep.
you know?
Right.
And it's that space is still like, yes, we know that we still have to check in,
Mhm.
but just that freedom of not having to take calls, not having to be on.
Mhm.
It allows for innovation to come through. I can solve problems on Fridays.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I'll figure it out Friday. Figure it out Friday. But it's so cool that you're doing that and you notice that too.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's been amazing. Well, I'm going to ask a hard question. And I
Okay.
know this is going to be a hard one, but what's your favorite part of your book?
Okay. I have to think about this, but okay, I'm just going to let it roll. This is the first thing that comes to mind. It is a chapter called Interning to an Interview with a Former President. A woman on my team, her name is Jenna McDonald, started off as an intern at Improve It when she was about 21 years old. She was the most amazing human being. We loved having her in the office. However, she didn't realize how special she was. So as she progressed and time progressed, we realized how valuable Jenna was to us. And so we said, we need to make her a full-time employee. And so literally, as time kept going, I kept watching her get outside of her shell. Well, we were asked by the Obama Foundation to do the first ever training day in Chicago. And so that meant,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
facilitate
Amazing.
to this group of 250 citizens. Jenna
crazy.
got to be a participant with the citizens in the actual event. And all of the 250 participants got to go into smaller groups. And by the end of the day, they were supposed to come up with a project that would create positive change in the city of Chicago. And now what happened was an individual in each group's idea got chosen and they were to present that to the larger group.
Mhm.
Jenna's idea got chosen.
Yay.
And little did she know, she was not only presenting that to 250 people, but to the former president himself.
Wow.
So watching her interact with a former president and do it with ease and grace and confidence was like one of the most pinnacle moments in my career.
I have goosebumps.
I do too. And then the news media kept coming in and sweeping her away from me. After every single time we were trying to just like catch up, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this happened. She'd be whisked away by another news outlet. From there, her confidence just bloomed. She is now the VP of our client experience. She's going on 7 years with our company.
Wow.
But it was from that moment that I watched her change her perception of herself. And I said, if you can talk to a former president in front of media and 250 people, you can do anything. We have done so many wonderful things because of her leadership.
Yeah.
And so I always say she is the case study to my leadership because watching her grow throughout her career has been the greatest joy.
Yeah.
And
I'm
she,
so excited.
yeah, it was. And so that's a full chapter, that whole story. And it just is such a testament to what happens when you believe in yourself
Mhm.
and have other people believe in you too.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool story.
Jenna, we're sending out a shout out to you
Yes,
wherever you are.
Jenna. Yes. Oh, look at the love. Yes. Oh, I love AI. Thank you. All right. That's like my best story. That's all I've got in my
That's a really
job.
good one. That's a really good one. And it's got the former president.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I think we're gonna wrap up with our final question to you. Brittany, do you want to go ahead and ask?
Sure. So with March being Women's History Month, what is the one thing you want all women to walk away with?
I know what it is. So the very first part of the book is all about self-love. And I am a recovering people pleaser. I was a human being that was just giving to everybody else in my life except myself for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And so for women, I think we are natural empaths. And I think that a lot of the times we don't think about ourselves. And self-care is not selfish. It's filling your tea kettle so you can pour into other people's cups. It's that whole cliche of putting your oxygen mask on first. So for women, I think my biggest takeaway for this month and always is to love yourself, do things for you. And I have all types of tangible tips in the book in the very first part about how you can do that. But self-love is going to change everything in your life. It's going to affect the way you lead. It's going to affect the way you parent. It's going to affect the way you show up for your family. So I really think that women in particular should lean into that all year long, not just March,
Yes.
but really giving to ourselves so we have more to give to others and feeling strong in that conviction of who we are. Because when you are in alignment with your assignment here on earth, you are capable of so many things. And it starts with loving yourself first.
So I think we have a call to action for the group. Do something for yourself and show yourself self-love. I know I just got back from doing a trip that was for myself and my girlfriends, and I sat on the beach and reading and just having that time to close off the rest of the world and really just do something for myself felt amazing. Before that, I was headed towards burnout, I can tell you that. With that, let's each pick one thing and share what our self-love thing is. And audience, if you could throw in the chat what you're going to do for yourself, would be awesome to hear.
That would be awesome to hear. Mine is actually me taking out time today to be here for the Women in Telco event. I moved meetings around. If I canceled on you, I'm sorry. It's for this.
I love it.
This is just as important.
Yes, very important. And it fills my bucket today being here and celebrating you and celebrating the other women we're going to be talking to.
So cool.
And so that's my self-love. That's going to fill my bucket.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So I did a soul-batical last year, which was me getting like a little beach house by myself for a moment. And I'm going to plan. So my self-love for this year is I'm going to plan one in April because I'm coming off this book launch. I'm loving everything I'm doing. Don't get me wrong. I feel super #blessed. But I also know that if I don't have moments of downtime, then I'm going to burn out. So my LSD is going to be a couple of days in April, and I'm just going to have a couple of days in a beach house somewhere near Charleston, South Carolina, where I live, and fill my cup. Okay, what is yours?
Oh, mine is definitely I just came off of doing one, but I do a solo vacation every year. I've done it for the last 3 years. I did Australia for 2 weeks. I did the Tour de Mont Blanc last year. And then this year, I think I'm going to go to Germany just to like get out. And the best part about it is the only thing I book is my flight there, my first hotel and my last hotel.
Oh my God.
Everything else in between, you kind of figure it out. Some people, this will stress you out. I know it used to be me, but I've learned that I need to put myself in that position and just have the free room to go eat and drink and experience culture and life outside of the US.
So freaking cool. Good for you.
Be present.
Be
Be
present.
vacation.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. We are out of time. Thank you so much, Erin, for joining us. Looking forward to reading. I see you. As usual, love your message. It's always inspirational. And
We have to do yes and. See you later.
Yes, and.
All right. I don't know what it is, but Erin can pump me up on my worst days and when I'm stressed and things like that. So I read her book on my vacation. I did not mention that. But I also had the pleasure of reading a signed copy. So that was a plus side. But she did not mention this. And this is one thing I would put as a shout out to our allies. Reading this book will give you a really good perspective on how women think differently. I have heard the phrase or the psychology around the women's brain is more like a bowl of pasta. And we can also just like everything's intertwined. And they say men's brains are like waffles where everything is compartmentalized. So we definitely think very differently. And I'm going to have to like remember the talk. I believe it was either a TED talk or one of the psychology business journals that talks about this. So like women, we don't really separate it. It all kind of molds together. Work, life, family, everything is just a big bowl of pasta. Add in some sauce and meatballs and you're getting chaos. And men do such a good job of being able to compartmentalize and shut different things off with how they're able to say, okay, work's in this bucket. I'm in the house, now I'm in my home bucket, or I'm with the kids, now I'm in my kids bucket. So it's very different with how we think. But Erin's book will give you a good insight into like how the brain really works in different scenarios. And for me, it was a quick read, but I am a pretty avid reader. I read it in a couple hours on the beach. It helps. Go to Cancun, lay on the beach in a chair, get a Mai Tai.
That's awesome. She's so excitable. Like she's just like a whole bunch of energy that you can just like absorb up and just feel better and more excited about all the things. I I think she'd be so fun to work for, because like, what if she was your boss and she walks in the room and it's like, yes, boss, like, yes, and we're gonna do more. Yes. Also 4-day work week. What? So dropping some little hints. But that is what people want, I think. We work a lot, and like to your point about the spaghetti brain or whatever, that totally makes sense. Of course, it's a little bit of an analogy and a generalization, and some people, both sides and all the things. But that totally makes sense. Like, I was thinking, oh, what is my call to action? What am I going to do for myself? And I was like, oh, I'm getting a dog and I'm going to buy something for my dog. Is that for me?
No, that's
Nope.
not for you.
Mm-mm.
Try again.
So then I was like, oh, well, I'll read that book. And so I did get there eventually. I had a couple of other like, nope, that's not for me, actually. Like doing my laundry, like I do like to do laundry, but like, that's not like for me. But reading that book, that is something that I'm going to do. Easy enough. And yeah, I think that is a thing that I can do for myself potentially like this weekend. So it's good.
Take a couple time out for yourself. I always have to write a list to then truly figure out what's for me and what's out of my ordinary to classify that self-love. And recently, one of my girlfriends in Wisconsin, I'll shout out Susie Platt, has been doing a lot of posting on LinkedIn about like doing things for yourself and getting out there, and then also shout outing women that are impactful in her life and how they have been, whether through networking or things of that nature. So I think it's doing things like that, which is a lot of what they talked about, all our different presenters and panelists and moderators today, and at the telco event itself, really talked about it's done as a unit. It's done like you're a board of directors. So the one thing I want to leave us with today is you're not alone. You have your team members, you have your family, your friends, and it's just making sure you bring them with you. Because I know sometimes we can get really down into the weeds, and this is a reminder for myself too, to look up and out and have the conversations. But know that you are in full ownership, using an Amazon principle, LPD principle, of your life, your career, your journey. So I don't know, Candace, if there's anything else we missed today, but I think we have made it to the end of the show very quickly. It always feels like it's a blink.
Yeah, a quick 48 minutes. Not too bad. No, this was a great show. I hope the viewers today, you were kind of quiet, but I forgive you. I hope the viewers all took something from this show, and you are going to take some of these calls to action and implement those in your life. I think it was a really great show, and I'm glad to co-host with you as always, Brittany.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for tuning in. And in 2 weeks, we will be back reviewing another architecture. So back to our normally scheduled shows. But we will be definitely throwing in some of these. And feel free to email us or comment and let us know what else you're interested in hearing and learning about. And this was the North America AWS She Builds team. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.